Okay, term 5, lesson 5, it's unit 4.3, scales and measures, which are on pages 94 and 95. Your warm-up task here, if you could press pause on the video, have a go, and then press play when you're ready for the answers. Right, okay, let's think about the answers. How many millimetres in a centimetre? Remember, you can always use this to check your ruler. There are 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre. How many centimetres in a metre? 10 times bigger, 100. And then how many metres in a kilometre? 1,000. There's 1,000 grams in a kilogram, and there's 1,000 millilitres in a litre. Okay, work out 4.8 times 10. So if you remember previous lessons, because you're getting bigger, you're going to move to the left 1 place because there's 1 0, so you're going to move over 1 place. So 4.8 becomes 48. 2 zeros, so going to move over 2 places. So 3.7, 1, 2 places, 7, 1, 2 places. Fill up the ones with a 0. So 3.7 times 100 is 370. Times 1,000, 3 zeros. So you're going to move over 3 places. So 9.1 will become 9,001. Here's the 9 here. 1, 2, 3. Here's the 1. 1, 2, 3. Fill up the 10s and the 1s with a 0. Okay, so just read the key point. A scale drawing shows a real-life measure in a small space. It needs a scale to tell you what 1 centimetre on the drawing represents in real life. So our scale down here, 1 centimetre represents 1 metre. So question 3, it tells us this diagram is on a 1 centimetre squared grid. 1 centimetre on the grid represents 1 metre in real life. Write down the length in metres of line A. So we just look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 1 centimetre squares. 1 square is 1 metre, so we've got 1 metre, 2 metres, 3 metres, 4 metres. So line A is 4 metres. So line B, we've got 2 squares, so 1, 2 metres. Okay, so let's have a go at these. These rectangles are drawn on 1 centimetre squared grids. Write down the length and width of each rectangle in metres. Okay, so the length is our longer distance and our width is our shorter distance. Read the scales carefully. So always check what the scale says. Press pause while you have a go and then press play when you're ready for the answers. Okay, let's check the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4 squares along. The scale, 1 centimetre represents 1 metre. This represents 1 metre. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 metres, and our width is 1 square, so it's 1 metre. So length is 4 metres, width is 1 metre. So if we look at B, again, we've got 1 square is 1 metre. 1 centimetre represents 1 metre. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. So it's either 4.5 or 4.5. Our length, our width is 1.5 or 1.5 metres. If we come along to the last one, our scale is 1 centimetre represents 2 metres. So it's just showing us here 1 square represents 2 metres. So our length is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8 metres long. And our width is just 1 square, which is 2 metres. So our width will be 2 metres. Question 5. On a scale drawing, 1 centimetre represents 1 metre. Use a ruler to draw a line that represents 8 metres and a line that represents 6.5 metres. So just press pause while you draw your two lines. Right, okay, I can't actually measure your lines, but I can show you what they should look like on here. So there's my ruler, and here's my line. It always starts at 0 on the 0 line, and 1 centimetre represents 1 metre. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 centimetres will represent 8 metres. And B, draw a line that represents 6.5 metres or 6.5 metres. So here's my ruler again. And our line is going to start at 0. And we're going to come up 1 metre, 2 metres, 3 metres, 4 metres, 5 metres, 6.5 metres. Okay? Right, copy and complete this number line. Okay, I've made it large here so you can see what I'm doing, because these little boxes are too small for me to write in. So I've got 0 at one end and I've got 1 at one end, at the other end. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got 5 jumps. And I need to go from 0 to 1, but they've started me off here. They've told me here is 0.2. So if I add 0.2, add 0.2, I will get to 0.4. So if I add another 0.2 to 0.4, I'll end up with 0.6. And if I add another 0.2 for that same distance there, I'll have 0.8. And then add another 0.2, I will get a whole 1. So I can just check that I'm going up in 2, 4, 6, 8. That's like 10, a whole number. Okay, if you want to copy that down, press pause and then just press play for the next slide. Okay, so have a go at looking at these. Remember to read your hints and press pause on the video. Answer all up to G and then press play when you're ready to go through the answers. Right, okay, if we look at question 7A, we've got 6 at one end, 8 at the other end. Okay, if I look in the middle here, it's exactly halfway between 6 and 8. So the number that's exactly halfway between 6 and 8 is 7. So if I've got 7 here, this is halfway between 7 and 8, so it'd be 7.5 or 7.5. Okay, so if we look at B, we've got 9 at one end, 11 at the other end. Okay, so if I come to the middle, I've got 4 sections, so my middle section here, that would be 10. 10 is halfway between 9 and 11, and my arrow's pointing halfway between 10 and 11. So my answer would be 10.5 or 10.5. Okay, C. This time we're on a dial rather than a straight line. So the first one is here, the little eye, and we're exactly halfway between 200 and 300. So this one's going to be 250. If I come back to part 2, I've got more than 100, but less than 200. In the middle would be 150. So halfway between 100 and 150 is 125. Part 3, halfway between 400 and 500 is 450, but this time we're getting bigger, so halfway between 450 and 500 is 475. Okay, at any point that you need to make some corrections, just press pause and then press play when you're ready. So D, we've got 50 and 70, so halfway between is going to be 60. Halfway between 50 and 60 is 55. Okay, we've got a longer line here with the bigger divisions. All right, we've got 12 at one end and 16 at the other end. So that's a difference of 4. How many gaps have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 gaps, so I can find the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. So halfway between 12 and 16 is 14. So 14, so halfway between that is going to be 15. So this is halfway between 15 and 16, so it's going to be 15 and a half, 15.5. F, okay, we've got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 10 gaps between 5 and 6. So I could have 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, 5.6, 5.7, 5.8, and just check 5.96. Yeah, so that's going to be 5.8. And our last one, we've got negative numbers this time from 0 down to -4. So halfway between 0 and -4, we have -2. Okay, so have a go at reading these ones on your own. 4 questions there. Press pause and then press play when you're ready for the answers. Right, okay, so here we have a jug. It's filling up with liquid. We're going up 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. The fluid here is between 3 and 400 in the middle, so it's going to be 350. Okay, this is another jug. This is filling up with pints this time, not mils. We've got 0 right at the bottom, and we've got 1 here. This looks like it's halfway between 0 and 1, so it's going to be half a pint or 0.5 pints. So at C, we have a temperature, a thermometer. We've got 0, and we can go up to 10 or down to -10. We're halfway between 0 and -10, so that will be -5 degrees Celsius. Okay, it tells us here degrees Celsius. Don't know what happened to my C. Okay, we've got a dial here. We're going from 0, 100, 200, 300. So between 2 and 300, we need to find out what our jumps are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 gaps. So we can say that each jump is 10 grams. So we've got 210, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 280 grams. Okay? Okay, write the value the arrow is pointing to. So we've got 500 here and 600 here. We need to find the difference between 500 and 600. So we have our biggest number, take away our smallest number, and that will equal 100. How many jumps have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want our difference in the values divided by our 5 jumps will tell us that each jump is 20. So if we look over here at the diagram, each jump is going to be 20. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. That makes the whole big jump from one end to the other. Now we're 1 away from the end. So we check what's 1 away from this end. It's 580 millimeters. So the arrow points to 580 millimeters. So we need to find the value of our jumps when we've got lots of jumps in between two numbers. So find the difference, largest number, take away the smallest number, and then divide by the number of jumps there are. Okay, your first step here is 0, so there's 1 jump, 2 jumps, 3 jumps, 4 jumps, 5 jumps. Okay, so let's have a look at a question. Remember to find the value of each jump and then write down what your figure will be, where the arrow is pointing. Try these 3 questions and then we'll go through the answers. So press pause and then press play again. Okay, so if we look at this first one, we've got 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 mph. That stands for miles per hour. Our arrow is pointing here. So we need to find what our jumps are here. We've got 70 at the top, 60 at the bottom. So 70 take away 60 is 10. How many jumps have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10 divided by 5 is 2. So we know that each jump is 2. So we've got 60, 62, 64, 66 miles per hour. Okay, if we look at this one, we've gone from 0 mils to 500 millilitres. Let's say it fully. How many jumps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 jumps. 500 take away 0 is 500. So 500 divided by 10. Remember, we moved the digits one place over, so it'd be 50. So now we know that each jump is worth 50. I don't have to count those, it's telling me that's 250, 300, 350, 400. So that arrow is pointing to 400 millilitres. The last one, I've got 0 and 1. So 1 take away 0 is 1. How many jumps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need to do 1 divided by 5. Okay. We can always try doing our bus stop method, 5 into 1. It doesn't go at all, so we put the 1 next to the decimal. 5 into 10. Sorry, I've got 8 there, it should be 2. So ignore the 8, that is a 2. So that's a 2. So if each gap is worth 0.2, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. That's my answer. And then that would get to 1. So 0.8 meters is showing on that line. Okay, so question 9. 0.8. Right, question 10. An industrial freezer needs to be kept at a constant temperature of minus 22 degrees Celsius. The thermometer shows the temperature inside the freezer. Is this freezer at the correct temperature? If not, what temperature does it show? Okay, press pause while you answer this question and then press play for your answers. Okay, so we need to check the question. Is this freezer at the correct temperature? So your first part has got to be either yes or no. It needs to be minus 22 degrees Celsius. So here's our degrees Celsius this side. This side is degrees Fahrenheit, which we don't really use an awful lot anymore. We use this side Celsius. So here's 10 degrees. We're coming down to 0, minus 10, minus 20, minus 22 would be down here. So we're not cold enough. So the first part of our answer has got to be no, it's not cold enough, or it's not at the right temperature. If not, what temperature does this thermometer show? So we're going from Okay, the answer's come down. Let's just explain it. We've got from -20 to -10, so that's a difference of 10 degrees. How many jumps have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10 divided by 5 is 2. So each little jump here is worth 2. So we're at -10, -12, -14, -16, -18 is what's showing on the thermometer. Okay, that's where we're finished today's lesson, and we will carry on with this unit with the next lesson. Thank you for watching and listening.